What's up, guys? We are about to review The Real Housewives of Atlanta, Season 13, Episode 9. I've been watching the show forever, but I don't know why I'm always on YouTube watching people review it. I say I'm going to get on here and review it. I never do it. So I know we are like a quarter into the season. I'm kind of late, but yeah, better late than never. So I got my mimosas. Let me pour my mimosa real quick. Got my fruit in my cup. Pour my mimosa. This is like my third one. Get the bubbles. My orange juice. Now, you know when you do mimosa, you got to do that's enough. Fill the rest up. Spilling stuff. All right, so Season 13, Episode 9, picks up where it left off at. Kenya and Marlo arguing about the room situation. Marlo's just so hell-bent on getting this little old raggedy room. They do this every year. We fighting over rooms. Kenya and Marlo keep going back and forth. Kenya just basically tells Marlo, like, she don't have time for her no more. She's done with her. You know, they've been doing this for years now, on and off with them too, and she just can never win with Marlo. Marlo hits below the belt, which Marlo has. Marlo has hit below the belt a lot of the times when it comes to like the arguments and the back and forth. Marlo goes low, which is the reason why I think she's been on the show for so long, because she's good for the show. Marlo will give it to you and she doesn't care. She doesn't hold back. But I also feel like Marlo is, because Nini's not here, Marlo is trying to make peace with as many of the girls as she can. Because at the end of the day, who's going to film with her? If no one wants to film with you, then you really don't have much leg room like in the group, or you know what I'm saying? It really doesn't make sense for you to be on the show if no one if people genuinely just don't like you, don't get along with you. So I can see what Marlo's doing. She's trying to like make peace with a lot of people, stay neutral, but at the same time still, you know, be Marlo at the same time. But she's trying to make peace with a lot of people. Her and Kenya keep going back and forth. Kenya just basically says, like, you know, she's done with her. So, I mean, that makes sense. And then they also flash back to Marlo, you know, being shady as usual. When they first met Drew at Cynthia's house, Marlo was like, "Oh, you're an actor?" To Drew, she's like, maybe you can give Kenya some jobs." And they're just flashing back to all that stuff and the mother comments. And you know how Marlo and Kenya's relationship has just been up and down. The whole thing when Marlo had her wig launch, Kenya came in with the band, the marching band. They just keep going back and forth, tit for tat. Like, at this point, it's just, I don't see it for them. And I also think that, like, that's the reason why, too, just, like, some of these ladies in the show, I'm probably going to say this a lot throughout the video, like, I think the relationships and the dynamics with some of these girls are just, it's kind of done and over with. Like, they've been on the show for a long time. Like, some of these girls are set in stone. Like, they're just never going to be friends. Like, it was nice to see Porsha and Kenya kind of rekindling a little bit last year. But as you can see, like, they're just, oil and water just not going to mix. And I think with Atlanta, like, we need to kind of, you know, good thing we got Drew and Latoya this season, but we need a little bit more Housewives, because like some of the relationships are stale, they're played out, they're repetitive. Like, we already seen these girls go back and forth, have their ups and downs, and whoever's friends are going to be friends, whoever's not going to be friends, they're still going to bicker here and there. But again, it's the same people we see all the time arguing, and we know that there's not going to be any real resolution because these girls aren't friends like that. They're just not friends. So after that, the girls kind of finish whatever they're doing at the dinner table. Marlo and Kenya stop. They get ready to say they're going to do a game night. Kenya suggests, how about everyone just put on their pajamas and all run upstairs and go to sleep. Little did they all know that Kenya was being dead ass. Like, Kenya was going upstairs to go to sleep and just get away from the girls. So they all getting ready. They're downstairs and they're like, "Where's Kenya? Where's Kenya? Where's Kenya? Where's Kenya?" Kenya's ass is upstairs with Brooklyn, with her baby. So Kandi goes upstairs like, "Kenya, like, what's going on? Let's go. Like, what are you doing? Like, we're all downstairs. We're trying to, you know, hang out with you. You got this game night. You're the host. Why are you hiding up here? Like, what's going on?" She's like, "I have Brooklyn up here. Like, I can't." So Kandi's kind of upset. And she goes back downstairs talking to the girls and just basically telling them, you know, like, she's up there with Brooklyn. Like, she's up there with her daughter. Like, we could all brought our kids. Now, we seen this on Potomac last season when who brought their baby? Ashley brought their baby, and Wendy was just, like, on top of her, like, "I would have brought my baby to them." And, you know, they were going back and forth in the kitchen. But I mean, I guess it's the Atlanta Housewives' turn to have some drama. So they're all mad at Kenya because Kenya brought her baby. And so, like I was saying, they were all mad at Kenya because Kenya brought her baby. I got notes, so I'm going to be looking up and down. It was a lot going on in this episode. And they didn't change scenery too much. So it was like a lot to kind of like, chronological order is kind of hard to keep up because they were kind of like in the house in the living room the whole time. So Kandi goes upstairs to get Kenya. Kenya basically says, "F y'all, I'm here with Brooklyn. I'm not dealing with y'all today, or well, right now." So she went downstairs. She told Porsha. She tells the girls. Porsha's really mad because Porsha's like, "Look, you got money. You can get a nanny. You can hire some people to come in here and watch your kid, watch Brooklyn." And a lot of the girls were saying, like last episode and this episode, that for the most part they've been bringing their daughters, their babies with them on a lot of these cast trips. We just don't see that. We don't see everything behind the scenes and stuff like that as a viewer. We just don't see that. So like Kandi was saying, she has a bunch of nannies. She brings her babies with her. But Porsha was mad that that they didn't all get a heads up to bring their baby. Shamea has a baby. Porsha has a baby. Drew has kids, Kandi has kids, so they're all, for the most part, the group there is a group full of mothers, and Kandi just goes on and on, her shaky voice, like, I would have brought Blaze, cause me and Blaze have a tight relationship. And no, but she's like going off because she said her and Blaze have, Blaze is very up under her all the time, and Blaze really takes to her, and she said it hurts her to leave Blaze all the time, and she would have brought her kids. But for the most part, I'm like, y'all be with y'all kids every day, like 2 to 3 days without y'all babies, and y'all got money and stuff like that to afford to kind of step away from y'all kids. Todd be at the house. Ace, like, what you could come on now, like, you got Ace on top of that, and Kandi be booked and busy all the time, so I know that she be away from her kids more than a couple of days. So I don't know why they really making a fuss out of it. Maybe I need to be a parent or a mother to really understand, but it's like, I don't know, like, y'all just really beating a dead horse with this, like, I can't bring my baby and I can't do this and that. Like, I just think it's a lot. I just think they just beating a dead horse at this point. Like, just enjoy y'all time. If y'all brought your kids, y'all didn't. Like, who cares? Like, I don't know, like I said, maybe I'm just not sensitive to that matter because I'm not a parent, I don't know. But at the same time, it's like, if you can step away from your kids for a little bit to have a good time, do it. Why y'all huffing and puffing about stepping away from your kids for 2 to 3 days? And for the most part, y'all be booked and busy all the time. So anyway, I'm gonna be looking down at these notes because I don't, like I said. So for the most part, the girls don't play the game. They just all say, fuck it, they say, forget it, we're gonna go upstairs and just go to sleep. Drew is like, like, what you mean? Like, we going to sleep? Drew is so new. Like, it's funny because I think a lot of these girls, they are comfortable with certain things. It's like they film their scenes and they're done. They film their scenes and then they're done. They film their scenes and they go about their business, which is another thing that I don't like about this show. Like, lately, it's like you can tell that these girls just genuinely don't kick it with each other like that. Like, it's like, you see them film their scenes, they get up and go. They film their scenes, they get up and go. They film their scenes, they get up and go. Like, and I feel like the only time they really spend time around each other like that is when they're doing like group trips and they got to spend the night around each other and stuff like that. But for the most part, it just seems very like cut and dry. Like, we're gonna film the scene and then we're gonna go. For some of them, like Kenya and Cynthia, they are friends. Kandi and Kenya, they are friends. For the most part, the group, they all get along. But like I said, like a lot of these women just aren't really friends like that, and you can tell like they don't really talk to each other until it's time to film. So yeah, they're all crying about that. So then it's the next day. Kandi gets all the girls together and tells all the girls, like, hey, we're gonna do Cynthia a little bachelorette party. Like, let's make this Cynthia's bachelorette. So she gives all the girls costumes. She said she had Don Juan bring in Bolo the stripper, which we all heard about all over the blogs. We're finally starting to like get some juiciness out of the show, like all this stripper gate stuff. So yeah, so she handed out all the girls their costumes and they're all excited, and it's a secret for Cynthia. Like, don't tell Cynthia that we're doing this bachelorette for her. And one thing that Kandi said, she said she had 4,000 ones. 4,001. So he made $4,000 off y'all. I told y'all I got my mimosas. He making $4,000 off of y'all. That's what we paying him, $4,000. Damn. So yeah, so they're all excited about that. And yeah, so all the girls grab their costumes, they all grab their stuff, and Kandi and Kenya stay behind in the room, and Kenya kind of brings up the whole thing that happened the night before when Kandi went up to her room and basically just was getting on her about having Brooklyn. And they start talking, and I can say that I appreciate that Kandi and Kenya have a friendship where they don't always bicker back and forth because it's just not realistic. You know, we do tune in to see like friends or girlfriends, so you don't always bicker back and forth with your friends. It's okay to talk and you know, hash things out civilly, and you know, so they're kind of getting at each other a little bit, and Kenya says, you know what, let's go outside. I'm not going to bicker with you back and forth. We're not going to be yelling about this. So they go out on the balcony. Kandi and Kenya, they're talking. And Kandi just basically tells Kenya, like, girl, you have been very annoying this whole entire trip. Like, you've been selfish. You've been ordering food without asking anybody. Nothing has really been planned. You just been doing whatever you want this entire trip, and we just been sitting here playing with our thumbs, like trying to figure out what's going on, what's the next move, and you just doing whatever you want to do. And Kenya just basically just starts breaking down, saying she doesn't have an army, she doesn't have a village, you know, it's just her. You know, she has to watch Brooklyn. She has to have Brooklyn on her hip 24/7 because she doesn't have a team. But I'm like, what happened to her aunt? What happened to her cousin? Remember Kenya had the aunt with the Cisco, the low cut blonde? Like, where's Auntie Lauren? What's her aunt's name? I don't remember, but she has a cousin. That's like the only two family members that we ever see on Kenya's side is her cousin and her aunt with the low cut. And then we saw her dad a couple seasons ago. But for the most part, we don't really see a lot of like Kenya's like family or anything like that. So she just basically tells Kandi, like, you know, I'm sorry, but I don't have a village. I don't have a lot of people to kind of look after Brooklyn. Like, I don't have it like you. And Kandi tells her, like, you can't keep letting Mark lay down the law all the way from New York. Like, you just can't. Like, at some point, y'all got to find a compromise. Y'all got to find some type of even ground because, you know, like, you can't keep blaming everything on, like, you know, you're by yourself, you're this or that, when like you know, like, we all pull together and do what we need to do to be here for the show, be here for the group, and do what we got to do. So like, we expect that from you too. But Kenya kind of starts breaking down, and you know, we can, like, I can kind of sympathize with her a little bit, but no, like, Mark needs to get it together because Kenya can't be like doing all this by herself. Oh, and Kandi told Kenya to get 2 nannies. She's like, you know, this is not acceptable. Like, you need to get 2 nannies. Or and then Kenya was like, oh, I don't have it like you, Kandi. Like, you have a whole team. Sometimes you have 2 nannies. Sometimes when like, you know, when I'm going on these trips, Kandi told her, like, I have 2 nannies. So yeah. And Kenya was like, I had to spend time in Brooklyn because I only have 1 nanny. Like, I can't, like, you cannot leave someone like for 24 hours with a child. Like, you know, that's not the child, that's my child. Like, I can't have a nanny doing that 24/7. So Kandi was like, well, get 2 nannies. And she's like, I ain't doing all that. Like, I'm not doing all that. I don't gotta like you, Kandi. Like, I'm not doing all that. So they pretty much squashed it. Kandi kind of let Kenya know how, you know, the girls were annoyed with her with the whole private jet situation, the crab cakes when they were all hungry, and just kind of dipping off and doing her own thing with Brooklyn. And Kenya kind of like understands and kind of just like, all right. So she kind of like understands where she's coming from. So they all go back in the house. Kenya and Kandi go back in the house. And Kenya gives this like half-ass apology to the girls. Like, so she was like, I just want to say that I'm sorry if I did this or if I offended y'all. But she starts like laughing in their face, like, sorry for ordering the crab cake, but that crab cake was good. And the girls are just like, is this an apology or is she just coming down here to flap her gums? Like, and I'm like, yeah, how you apologizing and you just like laughing in all these, like, in all their faces, whatever. So they try to lighten the mood. I don't remember who suggested. I think Latoya says, like, let's all go work out. But they all grabbing vodka. She's like, let's all go work out with some vodka. I'm like, okay, whatever, flu shabu, okay. So they're all working out in front of the little house that they have in the front yard. And Porsha and Drew stay behind. Drew's foot is swollen. Something, I think she broke her ankle, her foot. And then Portia's like, I'm not losing my booty. Like, y'all can go work out. Like, I'm keeping this thing nice and juicy. Y'all can go do what y'all want to do. So Porsha and Drew are just talking, and she's trying to figure out like the dynamics of the group and everything. because Drew is new. So she's just like, what is up with this? Like, 1 minute y'all mad, 1 minute y'all laughing. Kandi just was mad as hell at Kenya last night. Now they all kumbaya and skipping down the driveway, working out with each other. Like, what is going on with this group? Like, I'm trying to figure it out. And she's like, and everyone just was mad at Kenya. Now everyone's good. So Porsha's just like, being around these group of women for a long time, like I learned to just how to handle certain situations, not give certain energy to certain people. She's like, I tried with Kenya, it's just not gonna work anymore. Like, Kenya just doesn't matter to me anymore. Like, it's just too much up and down. Kenya's very selfish. Kenya is stuck in her ways, and I've tried with her over the years, and it's just, like I said, they're oil and water. Like, it's just not really gonna work with them too. So she also says, like, Black Lives Matter, but my relationship with Kenya does not matter. And I'm like, ooh. So the girls, they all kind of finish their little half-ass workout. They're skipping around in the driveway. And they go back in the house because it's like around the time the whole Breonna Taylor charges and everything were being announced on the news and on TV and everything. And, you know, that really weighs heavy on Porsha because she's been, like, on the front lines with this whole Black Lives Matter thing. So they all go in the house and they just gather around the TV and they all find out that, like, the police officers pretty much are not being charged for Breonna Taylor's murder. And they're all just devastated by it. Porsha, like I said, Porsha is hit, like, really hard because Porsha was out there, you know, marching and protesting and doing what she needed to do for the whole Black Lives Matter thing for all of us. And she even met Breonna Taylor's mother. So, like, it weighed really heavy on Porsha. There also was, like, another little scene too, like, after that situation that I liked, where Drew was in the kitchen and she asked Tanya, like, what's up, Tanya? Like, what's up with you? Like, I haven't really bonded with you or gotten to know you these last couple weeks, and since we've been on this trip, like, I haven't really, like, me and you haven't really had any time to, you know, talk or chat or get to know each other. So, of course, she asked Tanya, like, are you married? Do you have any kids? Like, what's going on? And Tanya says she's been with her guy for, like, 9 years. She calls him her life partner, but she doesn't call him her husband. She calls him her life partner. And so Drew's like, are you guys going to get married? You're not going to get married? Like, what's going on? Like, are you guys not going to... She's like, I don't know. Just kind of talking in circles. Like, this is, what, like, Tanya's 3rd season? And I think that topic has come up in Tanya and just kind of skates over the situation. Like, she's happy with how she is. Like, if it works for her, it works for her. Like, you don't have to feel like you need to get pressured into marrying someone just because you see everyone else doing it. And like I said, if it works for them, what works for them may not work for you. So if they're happy doing how they are, then leave it. So the girls all get ready to go out to eat. This trip is, I don't know if I said this, but this trip is a little dry. Like, it's just dragging. So after they watch the Breonna Taylor verdict and everything on TV, it kind of, like, fast forwards to later on that night. And I think Latoya says she made reservations somewhere for them to go eat dinner. So they're all out to eat. And they sit down. Drew tries to break the ice with a little game called Real or Fake. That's not an icebreaker in this group. You're just asking for an argument. Like, I appreciate Drew's input. She's not afraid to kind of, you know, get in there and, just be a part of the group. But that is not a game to play with these ladies. Like, it's just not. You're just asking for, you know, of course, drama and animosity and tension, all that stuff is just gonna boil up and bring up drama. But Drew is just a little agitated because, you know, she just feels like a lot of stuff that Kenya has been doing on the ship has been one-sided, selfish, and she just also trying to figure out the dynamics of the group, because she was saying she wanted to leave. You know, she got stuff going on at home that she could be dealing with, and, you know, just being in this house for a couple of days is not, it didn't really make or break anything. Like, she feel like she just kind of, they're all just kind of going through the motions. Kenya's doing her own thing over there. So they're at dinner, and she says, let's play a game called Real or Fake. And she kind of just aims right at Kenya. Like, it wasn't even any, like, questions being asked. It was just like she just starts spilling out how she feels. The rest of the girls are on the side. Porsha, Marlo, Kenya, they're all just like, I mean, not Kenya, Tanya. They're all just kind of just over there on the side, just looking at their phones. Tanya says she's hungry as hell. She's hangry, so she's looking at the menu. Kenya's trying to give her side of the story, and she's like, see, this is why I don't with you girls, because I'm trying to, you know, give my side of the story. I'm trying to explain, and y'all down there talking, the side comments, all this stuff down there. Y'all just, this is why I don't care to, you know, give too much and explain too much, because y'all just over there just doing your own thing. Porsha is looking at her like, girl, talk. Like, Porsha is just looking at Kenya like, girl, talk. Like, go ahead. Like, we ain't, like, whatever you're saying is going in one ear and out the other. She's like, see, that's what I'm talking about, Porsha. Like, that's smart, that's condescending, that's passive-aggressive. And Porsha's like, I'm on my phone. Like, I'm listening. Like, my ear is right here. I can still hear you. Like, whatever you need to say, go ahead and talk. Like, go ahead. So Tanya finally chimes in and just basically tells Kenya, like, I think what we're all upset about is just you haven't just acknowledged the fault in any of this. Like, you bring us all together for this girls trip, and you're kind of just doing whatever you want to do. You're not even really entertaining us. You walked off last night with Brooklyn and just didn't even care about, you know, the group or whatever else we had to do for the rest of the night. You know, just the private jet situation and, you know, ordering crab cakes and ordering food while we're all sitting here hungry. Like, you don't do that as a host. Like, you're supposed to make sure that everyone is well taken care of. And with that whole crab cake situation, if I wasn't going to buy everyone food, I would at least be like, hey, like, are y'all hungry? Like, I'm about to order some food. Like, does anybody want to chip in for a pizza? Anything, like something like that. Like, I think she was wrong for that, because if you hungry, Kenya, 9 times out of 10, all the rest of the ladies are hungry too. Like, you don't just order food and be like, oh, y'all be all right. Because if that was the situation, you would be all right too and wait for the damn pig and the barbecue and everything else to get done. You don't order food and just eat it in front of everybody, especially if you're hosting something. Or if I invite people over to my house, I'm not just going to, like, make me a plate and just not do anything, or get myself a glass of water and I'd be like, hey, you thirsty? You want something to drink? It's just common sense. But Kenya's like, y'all got money, y'all can order your own food, like, you know, all that stuff that we heard last episode. But Tanya just was basically saying, like, Kenya, like, I feel like you just haven't really acknowledged your fault in the situation. That apology, that half-assed apology you tried to do yesterday or last night or earlier in that day was half-assed. You laughed about it. And, like, it just wasn't even like you were apologizing. You just kind of just ran down the things you did and said, like, you know, I probably shouldn't have done that, and just kind of laughed and was like, that crab cake was good as hell, and high-fiving whoever the hell. Like, no, you just don't do that. So I feel like the girls just wanted like a sincere apology, and they just wanted, like, Kenya to just just acknowledge and take responsibility for, you know, the BS that was going on this entire trip. So Kenya kind of apologizes. But she just still basically says, like, y'all need to rally behind me. Like, if last night me dipping off with Brooklyn was the last straw, like, you guys need to rally behind me, be understanding that, you know, like, you know, I'm a mother and, you know, I have a child. I don't have an army behind me. I don't have a lot of people to support me. So Brooklyn is always going to be on my hip 24/7. You guys just need to acknowledge that and be understanding. And just be my girls, or be my village, be my support system that I need in times like this. Which is like, okay, it's understanding, but again, Kenya, like, you are selfish. Like, when it comes to certain things, like, when Kenya don't like something, she gonna call it out. She gonna snap on you for it. Like, you know, we have seen Kenya go off these last couple of years. Like, Kenya will put you in your place if something is agitating her. So she needs to be able to take it when she does the same thing to other people. Like, take the heat, because Kenya, you do a lot of things too. So, Kenya just was basically saying she didn't need to give the girls an option, and they just didn't like that. But she apologizes. They all kind of just, like, let it go. And then they go home. And I think it's time for the stripper. So next episode, we're going to see the stripper finally. But I'm like, why are we dragging this whole stripper thing out? Like, why can't we just... Like, y'all could have saved that whole little part of the girls working out in the front yard. Like, can we get... Like, come on, I'm ready for them to go home. Like, I'm bored. Like, I'm bored and I ain't even there. Like, I just feel like it's dragging. Like, can we just get this trip done and over with? But other than that, it wasn't a bad episode. It's finally starting to, like, bull up a little bit. We're starting to get a little bit of heat, a little bit of, like, something to talk about. But this trip was kind of, like, a waste of time. And where was Fallon at? Fallon didn't even go to dinner with them, which I didn't even notice. But Fallon hasn't even really been around to even miss her. Like, I didn't even miss her, but now that I'm thinking about it, I'm like, Fallon hasn't even really been around like that. She kind of dips in here and there, and then she doesn't. I wonder if she's going to be on next episode with the stripper. We'll see. But yeah, I don't know. That's Real Housewives of Atlanta, season 13, episode 9. Yeah, episode 9. It's finally heating up a little bit. This season was very dry. And yeah, I think it's time to kind of spice some things up next season. Get rid of Cynthia, get rid of, even Kandi can go, but I feel like Kandi is like a neutral player, so you need somebody that's neutral that gets along with everybody. But I think we need like maybe 2 or 3 housewives that are like wealthy, their husbands are rich, they're married, like, you know, like they have lifestyles that we aspire to like be like. I feel like a lot of these people like are just very, like the storylines are just like the relationships, the friendships are, and like they just very just like regular like Atlanta women now, like, you know what I'm saying, like when the show first came on, like I remember watching the show being younger, and then even like when I was old enough to keep up with the episodes and just being like, damn, like they got money, like, and just really liking the show. But I think a lot of people are saying that, like a lot of the housewives, the storylines, the cast members, it's getting kind of played out. Like we want to see more of something. Like I'm just gonna kind of run down like Kenya and Mark's situation is like, that's done and over with. Mark has never even been on the show. Dennis and Porsha, that's kind of done and over with. Like either be together or don't be together. But then again, like it's just kind of done and over with. Like get engaged, like do something. Like it's just, I'm tired of that. Cynthia, like we kind of seen Cynthia with her happily ever after. Like, okay, we seen her ups and downs. She divorced Peter, now she's married again. Like Cynthia can go. Like there's nothing like exciting or fun. Mike Hill is very just chill and just like, just go. I honestly think Cynthia stayed around as long as she did because of Peter. Peter was like, Peter needed a peach because Peter was, you know, like I feel like all these women, like their families and everything kind of help make the show. And like a lot of these women don't have families or like a lot going on in their situations. It kind of gets like stale and done and over with. So I think Cynthia and Mike can go next season. Drew and her husband are good. Latoya's okay. She kind of gets the stuff stirring. Kenya's all right, but Kenya needs more to her storyline as well. And we get to see Fallon come back in more episodes because Fallon has money, like she has it going on, like, so it'd be like good to like hear a little bit more of her story. And what else? Who am I missing? Oh, Kandi. I mean, Kandi is neutral. She can stay or go, but at the same time, Kandi, like, for as much as I be hearing they paying her $2 million, $3 million per season, Kandi's storyline is kind of stale too. I'm tired of seeing her open restaurants. This situation with her baby dad and Riley, like we've seen that like 4 or 5 seasons ago. Like why are we bringing that up again? Like, you know, Kandi's good too. Like we seen her ups and downs, and now she has her happily ever after. She has her family. Like she can go. Cynthia can go. And who else? Who else is on the show? And Shamea, I feel like Shamea should be on the show too. Shamea's good for the show too. She gives her input, but I don't think her husband wants her on the show. Which I mean, I understand because this show is very like, it does a lot to relationships and families. But I like Shamea on the show. She brings just like a spark, young vibe. Like she's good for the show too. And another thing I don't like is this whole old lady thing. Like it was kind of funny, like the aunties and the nieces and all that stuff. But when they were working out outside, and Latoya kept calling like Cynthia and all them, like, come on, old lady, come on, old lady. Like we're not gonna do that. Like that's not what we're gonna do. Because at the end of the day, it's about girlfriends being together, a group of friends, and you're not gonna be sitting here and calling me old lady or a little ass kid. Like we're not gonna do that in a friend group. Like we should all be equal. We're all friends, and yeah, so that's the only thing I'm like, okay, that's getting played out, Latoya. Stop sitting here calling everybody aunties and old lady, this and that. But yeah, that's about it. I'm trying to just like jog my memory of different things that I've been wanting to say for a while because, like I said, this is episode 9. I'm finally doing a review, but I've been watching the show for a long time. So I'm just trying to think of just any little things that's been popping up in my mind or when I'm watching the show. But yeah, that was season 13, episode 9. Hopefully you guys liked it. Subscribe. Follow me on Instagram at RHOA. Subscribe to my channel. I'm going to try to keep up with this because I say I'm going to do it and I never do it. But now I'm here, so I'm trying to just bang it all out and just have fun with it. But yeah, thanks guys. Thanks for watching and subscribe.